and these are our Sisters in Christ guest picks. I'm Heather. I have my first one is Special Interest from New Orleans. They're incredible. They're like one of the most amazing bands, like right now, in my opinion. Like just super like raw, like emotionally, like intense, and just like political, and just like driving, like amazing, like just an amazing band. Like I don't know, they're unlike anything else that's happening right now, and this is their newest record, and I don't have it yet, and I'm really excited. I've heard some songs off of it, but I'm really excited to check out the whole thing. We just saw them in Chicago, actually. It was such a sweaty, wonderful, great time, like outside. It was like an outdoor show, and it was freezing, but everyone was wearing snowsuits and raging, and it was just sick. They're like, I love them. Okay. Second, I have the Exorcist II soundtrack, which is, this movie's amazing. Just like really trippy, cool, weird, basic tricks with like lights and mirrors, and then the soundtrack is just like, I don't know, it's really good.
It's like an Ennio Morricone, dude.
It's like heavy and weird and like kind of goblin-y at moments, but like just really great. So I got this because I like it. And then this is a collection of like Egyptian like intros. It's all instrumental, like over here, of like Egyptian TV show intros, or like, you know, just like little jingles and stuff from 73 to 80, I think it is. And I'm super excited to check this out too. Like, I'm half Egyptian and I've been learning Arabic, and I can read some of the titles of the songs, which I'm super excited about. And just like the Arabic scale, like other instruments is like, I just love it. So I'm really excited to check this out too. And see how great this record store is. Like, look at this, look at the diversity of these picks. Okay.
Very amazing. I was having a tough time with this and stressing out about it because I never buy anything, but here's some things that I'm going to get from this wonderful store. First, we have the ASSCHAPEL collection. I saw them once, I don't know, I think I was like 17 or 18, and I'm pretty sure it was at this bowling alley in Chicago called the Fireside. And they were like completely insane, destroyed everything. Like, it was just one of the coolest things I ever saw, like energy-wise. And then I ended up living with the guitar player in Chicago, and like didn't really realize it. And after I lived with him for like 6 months, he was like, "Oh yeah, my old band ASSCHAPEL." And I was like, "What the fuck? You were in that band? The band was amazing." Anyway, I've actually never heard a recording of ASSCHAPEL, but now I have every single thing they've ever recorded. Thank you. This is something that I had kind of forgotten about. Sword Heaven and 16 Bitch Pile Up, who, like, my old band, I used to be in this band called Coughs that was on Load Records, and we, I don't know, we would play with all kinds of like crazy noise bands all around the country, and like one of the wildest scenes at that time in like the early 2000s was in Columbus, Ohio, and these two bands were both like completely blew my mind. Sword Heaven was like, I don't even know how you would describe it. It was just like super pummeling, like super slow industrial, and like the instrumentation was like one guy had a contact mic on his throat and one bass drum with like that was like triggering something that sounded like the earth was crumbling, and then another guy with like a gigantic piece of sheet metal and like some vocals going through a tape machine, and it was like the most pummeling, brutal shit I'd ever heard. And like in Columbus, Ohio, there'd be like 300 people at the show going completely bananas, which, I don't know, it was cool. Anyway, and 16 Bitch Pile Up was another band from there that was like equally just completely brutal and like crushing and unlike anything I had ever seen at the time. And so, yeah, and I'm excited to have this. I've never, I think, owned a recording by either of these bands, so iconic, and nobody knows of them. This is Fielded, Terrageist. It's a really good record that I have a lot of like connections with in various ways. This person we were in a band together, and I don't know if I should say this, but we dated too. And they're a really brilliant musician, and Lindsay Powell is her name. And this record is amazing. I don't exactly know how to describe it. It's a lot of like really like cyclical vocal loops, and like, I mean, I guess you would call it like kind of like gothy like instrumentation, but I feel like it's really different than a lot of like more traditional stuff, and has a lot of like kind of like incantory vocal loops and stuff like that. It's really cool. But also the cover was done by Carrie Winarski, who was in the band I just talked about, Coughs, who I also dated. And then the record was put out by Brett Nocky, who is also a cool musician that I used to live with. And he was in our band for the first show.
We were a three-piece for like one show.
So it's kind of a, but I don't know. I'm excited to have this. I used to have this record. You can't really probably tell, but this is like a screen print that's like glued to the top. It's like a hand screen printed cover, which I think that Carrie did the screen print herself. Anyway. I threw this in at the last minute. It's a Wilhelm Reich book, just a bunch of essays. He's like an Austrian psychologist that was really into like sexuality and like morality studies, and kind of got, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people don't know of him because he kind of got thrown off as being like a quack, because he had this idea of like orgone energy, like orgasmic energy, and he built these machines, like orgone energy machines that you could sit in, and that supposedly like harnessed your orgasmic energy. And obviously, like, or not obviously, but I don't think that it ever worked. And so a lot of people were like, this guy's like full of shit or whatever. But all of his essays are really cool. He's kind of coming at it from like a Marxist like perspective on sexuality, if that makes sense. I don't know. I could be completely misrepresenting any of his stuff, but I used to be really into his writings, and I've never read these, so there you go. And then lastly, I have this Death shirt, which Death was like one of my favorite bands when I was like 12 years old. I don't know if you can see the whole shirt, but it looks like somebody's like hand-drawn rendition of the Scream Bloody Gore cover. And I'm actually getting this for Heather's kid, who also has been super really into death metal. And I texted them a picture and asked if they would want it, and they said that they're going to make a back patch out of it. So there you go. Thanks.
Ta-da!